There is a unique kind of pressure that comes with being expected. Expected to succeed. Expected to continue a legacy. Expected to become something, before you even understand who you are. Some people grow up trying to prove themselves. Others grow up trying to live up to something already decided for them. The Bible tells the story of a man who lived his entire life under a promise he did not choose, but was born into. His name was Isaac. He was not just a son. He was the son, the child of promise, the answer to years of waiting, the fulfillment of a word spoken long before he was born. But what happens when your life is defined before it even begins? Isaac's story begins with laughter. His parents, Abraham and Sarah, were far beyond the age of possibility. Time had long since closed the door on expectation. And yet, against every natural law, Sarah conceived. When Isaac was born, joy filled the camp. His name meant laughter. But not the laughter of disbelief anymore. This was the laughter of fulfillment. Imagine growing up as that child. Every story told about your birth would remind you. You are not ordinary. You are the result of divine intervention. But blessing, when misunderstood, can quietly become pressure. Because when a life begins as a miracle, it often carries the burden of expectation. One of the most defining moments of Isaac's life came when he was still young. God spoke to Abraham. "Take your son, your only son, whom you love, and offer him." There is no record of Isaac's thoughts, only the journey. They walked together, father and son, up a mountain. Isaac carried the wood, Abraham carried the fire and the knife. At some point, Isaac asked the question that must have lingered in his mind. "Where is the lamb?" Abraham answered with faith, "God will provide." And then, on that mountain, Isaac became the offering. Bound, laid on the altar, a son trusting his father, a father trusting God. At the last moment, heaven intervened. Do not lay a hand on the boy. A ram was provided. Isaac lived, but imagine what that moment did to him. To trust and surrender, without fully understanding. Some life experiences shape you quietly, but permanently. Unlike his father Abraham or his son Jacob, Isaac's life appears quieter. Less dramatic, less adventurous. But quiet does not mean insignificant. Isaac lived in the shadow of a great legacy, and yet had to discover God for himself. He married Rebekah, a woman brought to him through divine guidance. There was no striving, no chasing. Some things in Isaac's life came not through pursuit, but through provision. But even in that, challenges emerged. Rebekah was barren. History repeated itself. And Isaac faced the same test his parents once faced. Would he trust God, or try to force the outcome? This time, something different happened. Isaac prayed, and God answered. Rebekah conceived. Rebekah carried twins. But even in the womb, there was struggle. 2 nations, God said, were within her. 2 destinies. 2 directions. Esau, the firstborn, strong, rugged, a man of the field. Jacob, the younger, quiet, strategic, a man of the tent. Isaac loved Esau. Rebekah loved Jacob. And just like that, division entered the family. Favoritism created fractures. Expectations created tension. Even in a promised family, dysfunction can grow. A famine struck the land. And Isaac considered going to Egypt, the same place his father once went during hardship. But God stopped him. Stay in this land. This was Isaac's test. Would he follow patterns, or follow God? Isaac stayed, and he sowed in a time of scarcity. Scripture says he reaped 100-fold. There is something powerful about obedience in difficult seasons. When logic says leave, but God says stay. Isaac prospered, not because conditions were favorable, but because obedience aligned him with provision. As Isaac prospered, envy grew. The Philistines stopped up the wells his father had dug. Water, life itself, was taken. Isaac responded in a way that feels almost foreign today. He did not fight. He redug the wells. When conflict arose, he moved. When opposition came, he yielded. Well after well, taken, contested, disputed. Until finally, he found a place where there was room. He named it Rehoboth. Now the Lord has given us room. Isaac teaches a quiet strength. Not every battle needs to be fought. Sometimes peace is not found in standing ground, but in moving forward. In his old age, Isaac's sight grew dim, and he prepared to pass on the blessing. He called for Esau, but Rebekah intervened. Jacob, disguised, entered. And Isaac, unable to see clearly, blessed the wrong son. Or perhaps, the right one. Because God had already declared the outcome. Still, the method left wounds. Esau wept, Jacob fled, and Isaac lived with the consequences of a divided family. Even in a life marked by promise, human choices leave lasting impact. Isaac's story does not end with dramatic conquest. It ends quietly. He lived, he endured, he passed on the promise. And sometimes, that is the greater legacy. Not starting something new, but sustaining what was given. Not being the loudest, but being faithful. Isaac's life was not defined by bold moves, but by steady trust. Perhaps Isaac's story resonates in a different way. Not everyone is called to be Abraham, the pioneer. Not everyone is Jacob, the strategist. Some are called to be Isaac. To inherit, to sustain, to remain faithful in the middle. To trust without spectacle, to obey without applause. His life teaches us, you do not need to be extraordinary in the eyes of others to be significant in the purpose of God. Faithfulness is its own form of greatness. If this story spoke to you, take a moment to reflect. Are you trying to prove yourself, or simply be faithful where you are? Are you chasing recognition, or walking in obedience? Are there battles you need to release instead of fight? If this message encouraged you, like this video, share it with someone who may be carrying the weight of expectation, and subscribe for more biblical stories told with clarity and meaning. And in the comments, share this. Do you relate more to Isaac's quiet faith, or his hidden struggles? Because sometimes, the most powerful lives are the ones that remain steady.